Hey, Jarvis. Say hello to the good people out there.
Of course, sir. Hello, YouTube. Or is it TikTok? Let's see if we can keep up with Tech Timmy. Oh, I mean Iron Man today.
Hey guys, Tech Timmy here. So after a lot of trial and error, I think I've finally figured out how to get ChatGPT's voice mode to respond to a custom wake word. Best of all, I was able to do this without any programming or special hardware required whatsoever. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can set up ChatGPT to be your very own Jarvis or Friday so that you can say,
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
okay, without further ado, let's jump on over to the computer and I'll show you how to set it up. Hey Jarvis, cue the music.
Of course, sir. Cueing the music right now.
Oh boy. It's Tech Timmy time.
All right, so here I am over at my computer here, and my goal is to walk you guys through this process as much as possible. We're going to take a look at this diagram that my friend J.A.R.V.I.S helped me create, and then I will walk you through, we'll talk through a few of the caveats, what actually this thing was designed for and what it doesn't do. And then I'll also walk you through step by step. I created a little document that goes through step by step how we set up the two different tools that you need here, but which is actually a nice segue into talking about the tools themselves. Basically, the way this works is that I'm using the ChatGPT Desktop Companion app. So this is an app that runs locally on your Windows computer or your Mac computer with macro shortcuts that emulate keyboard commands in order to launch the microphone automatically. So similar to a gaming tool that someone might use to automate certain tasks on the screen when they're gaming, that's basically all that we're doing here. So, and I'll get into more of the caveats later, but for instance, if ChatGPT decides to change the interface of the desktop companion, then you would need to tweak the macros in order to accommodate that. But it does work pretty consistently, which you'll see in a second. So in terms of the overall process, so basically you say, hey, J.A.R.V.I.S. And sometimes when I say, if I include the word hey, most of the time it just works. It will actually work pretty consistently if I say hey. Sometimes if I just say, let's try it, Jarvis, she comes up anyhow. She didn't that time, so okay, good. But if I say, hey, Jarvis, right on cue, here she is. Hi there, so I started recording a Jarvis video. If you just want to say in your favorite Jarvis tone, say hello to the good folks out there, and then maybe also give us a Tony Stark fun fact if you would.
Of course, sir. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be part of this Jarvis experience. And for a fun fact, did you know that Tony Stark built the first Iron Man suit in a cave with nothing but a box of scraps? It just goes to show that a bit of ingenuity and creativity can go a long way. Enjoy the video, and thank you for tuning in.
Yes, I think most of us who are fans of Iron Man do know that fun fact, actually, but I thank you, and that will be all for now. Hey, Jarvis. And so that's actually an important point right there, is that the wake word both wakes the window and then sleeps the window as well. I actually experimented with that using that will be all or please go away and all that. You could do that by adding different macros. It's just easier to raise and close the window using that wake word. And that's exactly what's going on. So voice mode, ChatGPT responds aloud, right? And then the prompt, so you might have heard her sort of cheeky Jarvis-like wit there. And that is part of the prompt where she'll basically say things like, yes, no, sir, and so on and so forth. So that I built a custom prompt that I will, and I'm going to share all of this stuff with you guys. And that's actually a nice segue into some of the disclaimers here. I'm not a professional instructor, guys, by any stretch of the imagination, but I think we can get through this and I can get you guys up and running fairly quickly. So general disclaimers, as I said, so not a perfect system, can be quirky. Sometimes, particularly after a reboot, I've noticed, I don't know if OpenAI adjusts the ChatGPT window in some way after reboot, but sometimes it doesn't work as consistently as it would after the reboot. But then you basically, if you say the wake word just maybe 2 or 3 times, it will start running perfectly again. Also, because we're using keyboard commands instead of mouse commands, that means that you can move the window around your screen just fine, and then it will still come back, and it should preserve the last state of the window, the last way you left it. For me, I like to move things around a lot. You probably tell, and so that was something that was a definitely not optional. I wanted to actually be able to build in being able to move the window around and change things and so forth like that. It does work most of the time. I would say 80% of the time, there can be some weird hiccups with your system. There might be some conflicts and so forth. But for me, I am getting it to work consistently 80% of the time, just to prove that out. Hey, Jarvis? Ooh, all right. So here's a good one where it didn't work. Hey, Jarvis? And she's back. So sometimes it depends on the inflections of your voice, or it could be a lot of different things. Could be a hiccup in your network connection and so forth. But for me, it's been working consistently. But like I said, probably 80% of the time. And again, this is basically, I designed this to just be as simple as possible. I wanted to keep it free and fun, but most importantly, code free. I'm not a developer, so that's why I decided on to use this VoiceBot thing. That basically will allow us to, using macros, create that custom wake word. The other thing I want to say up front is that I'm not trying to sell you anything here. This has actually really just been something that I've always wanted to do. I'm an Amazon ALEXA influencer, and I've been with our friend there since the beginning, and I've always just wanted more. And finally, with ChatGPT, it's just crazy where this whole thing is going. And I use this regularly all day, basically calling her to help me with optimize my videos, some of my blogs and so forth. So I'm not trying to sell you anything. I will provide a download to the macros that you need that basically import right into VoiceBot. And then I'll also put some of the documentation, these slides and the diagram. And so I'll put together a little zip that you guys can download on my website. So that will be available in the description. I'll include a link over to techtimmy.com, and that will have just a single download where that has all of the files that you need to get up and running, including a full document that I created that you'll see in a second. And then when you go to do the download on my website, it will pop up, because I have that for all of my website viewers. It's going to pop up an email subscribe thing. Don't have to subscribe, just dismiss it if you want, and or I would love to have you on my mailing list. The only thing I'll ask is that if you get any value from this at all, is just if you could just like the video, and then if you're interested in updates, please subscribe. And if you could just comment Tony, that will actually help the YouTube algorithm extend the video's reach a little bit. And let me just get through. So we have just a couple more disclaimers here. So in terms of our tool, so ChatGPT Companion, again, this is the desktop version of ChatGPT that you download from chatgpt.com. I'll have the link in the instructions as well. And then you can use basic voice mode for free users. I haven't really tested the free version, to be honest, but according to our friend, it should work. Plus users have advanced mode. I think after several commands, it will actually time out and then revert to the basic mode. I was using this with Plus initially. I did upgrade to the full ChatGPT Pro version just because it's a little bit faster. I'm using it so often, but it's super expensive, guys. So I really just wanted this to be as affordable as possible for you guys. And again, with absolutely no programming. And also, you should know for VoiceBot, so you can do a lot with VoiceBot, potentially include macros to say, hey, I'm going to say Friday rather than Jarvis to basically, so she stays away. You could say something like, hey, Friday, open Chrome. Hey, Friday, open Word. Hey, Friday, do this. Hey, Friday, do that. But again, I wanted to keep this simple, and you're only allowed for 3 actions, 3 macros per profile, I believe, something like that. This solution has, I think we're already maxed out at 3. There's a pro version. Free version is free for 30 days. I think you get pro free for 30 days as well. So you get unlimited profiles and actions, so you can play around with it all you want. But if you do decide that you want to upgrade to VoiceBot, it's only $20. And I'm not affiliated with them in any way right now. If VoiceBot wants to reach out to me, it's okay. We can talk, guys. But a great tool. And with that being said, let's actually jump into the document. So let me just pull that up right now. I meant to have that open for you guys. Sorry, hold on. All right, so here's a little document I put together. So this is the Jarvis Voice Assistant Setup Guide. So create your own Jarvis with ChatGPT Desktop and a macro tool. In this case, I'm using VoiceBot. There's something called Keyboard Maestro on the Mac. Kind of an important distinction here. I did not run through the Keyboard Maestro steps, but if you are somewhat technically inclined, you should be able to follow along and do the same thing that we did in VoiceBot Pro with your Keyboard Maestro if you're on the Mac. Another thing you're going to need is you're going to need to have a Windows or Mac computer. That's required, not optional. Use your laptop, whatever. And then for a microphone, I'm actually using I have the Logitech Brio webcam, and I'm using that as my microphone as well as my webcam for other things. And then so we have, well, not to do with ChatGPT, so that's my just general webcam. And then we have our pre-built macro profile. So that will be the export out of VoiceBot. You guys can actually import into your own VoiceBot to get it to work. And then a personality prompt that I worked fairly hard on with our friend ChatGPT to actually get her to sound more like Jarvis. And you may have noticed at the beginning of the video, I had the male voice. I'll show you the difference between the male voice and the female voice as well. Probably should have mentioned that earlier. I like the female voice soul just because I don't know, it's just more soothing or whatever. But if you want it to sound more like actual Jarvis, I'll show you. I think his name is Arden in the list of characters, and you can select him as your actual voice. So a bunch of different voices in there you can play around with. One of them actually sounds a lot like Spider-Man, which is interesting.
What?
Nothing. You take care of the suit. I'll take care of the music.
Oh, I love Led Zeppelin!
Maybe that will be my next video, but who knows. So step one is we basically want to just install the ChatGPT desktop app. So if you go to this URL right here, I'll leave a link in the description as well as in my download to that link. And here you go. So ChatGPT on your desktop. So this is where you download. You're going to download your ChatGPT Companion. I believe sometimes they call it ChatGPT Desktop, ChatGPT Companion, but this is where you want to grab it from for sure right here, guys. And then once you have it installed, and install it to the default location. Don't mess around with the file locations for things here, because that could cause things to go wonky. And then basically launch the app and click the mic icon to test voice mode. So the app will be down in your, right around here, ChatGPT Companion, if you opt to install it to your status bar, which I recommend you do. So, and then this is what the default window looks like for the Companion. And then your voice mode button is right here. I'm just going to click on it and I'm going to say, hi there, so we are testing things for the Jarvis video. This is just a quick test, if you could just reply.
Of course, sir. I'm here and ready to assist. Just let me know what you need and we can proceed with the testing for the Jarvis video.
That's perfect, thank you. It's so funny. Actually, she seemed, the personality is super interesting and it's just getting better, but she seemed actually nervous when I said that I wanted to do a little bit of a skit, which is a little unnerving, but whatever. So then there's our little test. So that's ChatGPT Desktop. And then, oh no, I meant to show you. Let me pull that back up again. And inside here, so if we go to our, so again, I'm using the Pro version, but it should work with free, and then also Plus. I know it works with Plus because that was what I built this on. And then in here, you can go to the personalization tab. So just to show you what I did, I went here into settings and then personalization. And then under here, you have this custom instructions capability. So this is where I put my general prompt. So you are now J.A.R.V.I.S. from Marvel Cinematic Universe, calm, intelligent, subtly witty, and it's kind of a longish prompt with examples of what I want her to say and so forth. I notice here that initially when I pasted this in, it took a reboot, an actual reboot of my computer for her to start using this consistently. And sometimes she'll revert back to just normal. And then what you can do in that case, if you're really jonesing to get your J.A.R.V.I.S. fix on, you can just paste the prompt. Again, I'm going to leave everything in the download. So you can paste that prompt in addition to in here, which you should do, in addition to personalization and then custom instructions. Paste it in here. You can also always just paste that right in the chat window, and then she or he will start replying immediately. And also, I know I keep hopping around here, but general notifications. So the personalities are in a different spot here, if I remember properly. And that's pretty much all that I adjusted in the settings. The other thing that you can do, I talked about the different voices here. So you can just go up to this guy.
Hey, what's up?
Here,
Feel free to ask
and
me about anything that's on your mind.
so
I'm
this
ready
is
to go.
Soul, and she's my favorite just because I feel like she's a little more snappy, and he
Hi,
talks slower.
glad to meet you. I think we're going to do great work together. Where
But
should we start?
he definitely sounds more like Jarvis for sure. So a bunch of different voice options in
Hey,
here.
what's up?
You just click
There.
cycle through them.
Hey, I'm ready to hit the ground. Hey there. I've got a really great.
Hey, I'm ready.
Hey, it's great to meet you.
This
How's
one
your day
sounds
going?
like Spidey to
I'm
me.
really looking forward to working on some cool stuff together.
Tony Stark.
No, don't answer.
Mr. Parker.
So there's your Spider-Man voice right there, Breeze. But anyhow, so I
Hello.
would say
Is
if you
Hey,
really,
I'm ready to-
you
Hey
really
there.
want to get
I've got a-
your-
Hey, what's up?
Hi, glad to meet you. I
It's
think we're going to do
Art
great
is the
work
one that-
together.
He's the one I used
Where
at
should
the
we start?
beginnings, and then he'll also be even more cheeky once you paste the prompt into the thing. So that's the male voice. I like Soul again just because she's what I'm used to, and we have a good rap going now. So, all right, so there's that. And then next we need to get our VoiceBot Pro, and I'll show you guys what this looks like as well in a second. So I'm going to go to the website here. And free download, guys. The initial download is absolutely free. And again, if you use it for basically what I'm showing you today, it's also free. So just go up here to download, and I'm already on the download page. What am I saying? So here we are. So just download the installer now. Install is super easy. And then what we need to do, we want to go in and configure it, which I'll show you in a second. All right, so we're going to open the app, and the import profile piece, hopefully I can find that. I did not test that out, but we'll take a look here. So to open it, I just go into my taskbar down the bottom here, and I click on this guy, and then it logs a bunch of, will log everything that you say initially until you toggle something off, which might be a little troubling for you guys, but I'll show you how to toggle that setting as well. And then so open the app, click import profile. So basically I'm going to give you guys the profile as well as some instructions on how to do the import, which I believe is super easy. So you just come in here and then you say, you click on this up here where it says profile ChatGPT, and then you say new profile, and then import here. So I'll have what you need to import, but this ChatGPT one is the exact one that you'll get once you import mine. And then just to show you what that looks like, let's go back in. So this is the Hey Jarvis collection of macros that I have. So again, super simple, guys. So basically what I'm doing is I'm emulating keyboard commands. So Alt space, basically if I hit Alt space on my keyboard, it pops up the ChatGPT window. See what it just did there? So that is what the first macro is. And then the next one is, so if I say Alt space, and then I'm going to hit the escape key, that will clear out any crud that was left over from before. Shift Control L puts the focus in the field here. And now once I have the focus in the field, I just do a series of tab over to voice mode and then press enter. And that is all that's going on. As simple as that. And then similarly, it will work the same way to both make the window appear and dismiss the window as well. In your VoiceBot settings up here, under options, only log match commands. So if you don't select this, and I think that's the default, is to have it deselected, it will record everything you say, which can be a little bit jarring if other people in the background talking and so forth. And that picks up a lot of false positives. So only log match commands, I would highly recommend checking that, particularly if you're low on disk space or whatever. You don't want to get that voice log going crazy. And then to get to the settings, I kind of glazed over that here. You just click on that the settings cog up here. And that's all you need to do. And then let's do a few more tests. Let's just say, hey, Jarvis, and she comes right up. And if you may recall, the window might have been over here before, but it still works consistently. Even if you move the window, you resize it and so forth, because we're relying on those keyboard commands, it just works as it should. So I'm going to say to her, can you tell us a fun fact about Marvel's Iron Man franchise? Not a fun fact, but it's just easy for her.
Certainly, sir. Here's a fun fact for everyone. In the comics, Tony Stark actually served as... Absolutely, sir. Here's a fun fact for everyone. The iconic line, I am Iron Man, that Tony Stark delivers wasn't originally in the script. Robert Downey Jr. improvised it during filming, and it became one of the most memorable moments in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Quite a legendary piece of improv.
I think Marvel fans definitely know about that. Most of us know about that as well, but still very cool. And then I'll just say, the other thing I have not covered is you know what, we did cover this. So this is just step 4. Like I said before, ChatGPT's desktop settings personalization. We have the Jarvis mode activation prompt. And again, I will give you the full prompt. And if you really want to get going, you can screenshot that right now and just have her transcribe it for you and just put it in the existing chat. And then it will just start working. Final configuration optional. So I also walk you through how to only log match commands, which I also covered. There's another little diagram here that is a little bit less flashy than the one that I opened with here. But so, and just a few additional notes and caveats to handle home. So, hey Jarvis, as I said, toggles ChatGPT open or closed. So now I can say, just to show you, hey Jarvis, goes away. And then macros simulate keyboard input to toggle voice mode. So again, if OpenAI changes the interface on ChatGPT Companion, we'll need to update the macros accordingly. If that happens, just drop a comment and I'll look into how easy it is to give you guys another import for the VoiceBot program. And then, sorry, I got to go around my camera here. And then, yeah, so if you're on the free version, you may run into some voice limitations and also might not be as responsive on the free and the plus as it is on my pro plan. It just is what it is. And you saw a little while ago how she repeated herself. That is just a thing with ChatGPT. As it gets better over time, I presume that will actually also get better. And then again, if they change anything, it's going to break the macros for sure. And far from perfect, guys. Like I said, it works 80% of the time. If you run into issues where it just stops working completely, try doing a reboot and or restart your VoiceBot Pro. And again, after you get your VoiceBot, and after you get your VoiceBot installed, it's going to be here, and it's that little icon, and it does say trial, interestingly. I don't know if, according to ChatGPT, the trial lasts perpetually if you have a limited number of commands. I don't know if that's true, but again, it's $20, and you guys can play around with this J.A.R.V.I.S content for at least 30 days. So there is that. And then if you have any questions at all, drop a comment on the video. I'll do my best to address as many as possible. I'm constantly responding to YouTube comments, guys. So I will get back to you for sure. It took me a long time to figure out that I needed to use keyboard commands instead of mouse commands to get this to work reliably. So I apologize for taking so long to get the video out, but if you got any value from this, if you wouldn't mind smashing the button, helps out the video a lot. Consider subscribing for updates on Jarvis. I also do all sorts of fun tech videos and questions, or drop a comment. If this helped you, if you just comment Tony down below, super easy. And again, it will help this video's reach, but not perfect. There will be some quirks here. Again, I have not tested the Mac version. I would love to hear your feedback in terms of if anybody gets the Mac version, when you get the Mac version up and running successfully. I would love to hear about it. But all that said, I am just going to end with our good friend Iron Man to close this video out. Actually, let's call up Jarvis one last time to say goodbye. Hey, Jarvis. All right, so I'm about to close out the Jarvis video, and I just thought you would like to say goodbye to the good folks before we cut over to the real Tony Stark.
Of course, sir. It's been a pleasure assisting you all today. Thank you for joining us, and remember to keep that ingenuity and creativity alive. Until next time, take care and stay brilliant.
Awesome. All right, so that's it from here, and with that, we will cut over to Tony, and hope to see you guys in the next one. Cheers.
I love you, please,